I just really wanted to start an agency where it's like we're creating things that like I would, working with people that I know won't be ripping people off because that's also a thing. And then also giving them like this is your business and I want to treat you the way I would want to be treated. So it's thing is upfront, transparent, we're honest. Like if we have a bad month, we have a bad month. Like that's
Yeah, of
life.
course.
I just saw that happen so many times that I was like, I want to create my own thing where it's just like that's why it's holistic because it's just like honest, ethical advertising.
Hey, welcome back to Right Media Group Chronicles. We're keeping it real, sharing fresh ideas, and giving you the fuel to keep moving forward. Let's jump in.
Welcome to today's episode. We are Right Media Group and we help marketing agencies scale their revenue. So if you want to learn how to take your agency business to the next level, make sure to stick around. Today, our guest is Mike Doherty, founder of Holistic Agency. He's actually wearing the shirt. Would you mind to show it for the audience? There we go. So we know how to spell it now. Mike, would you mind to introduce yourself to the audience, please?
Hi, yeah, my name's Mike. I'm the owner of Holistic Agency. Kind of came from a corporate background and was
Yes.
doing freelance work. And so I started the agency a while ago as like an umbrella for freelance work, and it's become my full-time thing.
Wow, awesome. So when did you start the agency?
So I started it in the beginning of 2020, which was a bad time to start.
Yeah,
This
completely.
is really kind because everyone closed down right after. But I was doing some freelance work with some people that I knew and like an old professor. And so it kind of just became an umbrella to be able to do my work under that instead of everything just personal. And it's been a real growing experience from there, having clients as like a freelance person.
Mhm.
And I was working for a startup. I have like a background in software engineering and marketing.
Mhm.
So I was working at a startup doing software engineering, like project management. And they were going through, like, a bunch of rounds of mass layoffs, and so I was like, "At some point, it'll be my turn." And so I had, this business, but it was just kind of, like, for freelancing and that kind of thing, and so at the end of or the beginning of '24, I was like, "Let's go all in and, try to grow this so we can move out of doing corporate jobs."
Mhm.
So February, it was finally my turn because I told him at the end of '24, I was like, "Next round, please put me on the list. I
Wow.
want friends." And so I that happened in February, and it's been like a full-time thing since then.
So how would you say that technical background influenced the way you think about creativity?
So I think it helps a lot because like we are all like a digital marketing agency and started in college, like when social media was starting to become a thing that people were like, we can use this to market and advertise, and it's not just for sharing photos with family.
Yeah.
So I was kind of like right in that early phase of like how do marketers start using this for advertising. And so I think like having the technical ability and the software helps a lot with like the data side and the technical aspect of it. Cause I think a lot of people you can be like either very creative or very analytical and data heavy. But I think having that background and the ability to kind of do like the technical aspect and to be able to like interpret data and make decisions based on that and have more of like that software engineering approach of like let's let data guide things and like let's test things and it's not so much based on feelings or research, it's like facts and data.
Yeah. So obviously you touch point on starting kind of as freelancing. And then what would you say was the turning point when you realized this could grow beyond you? And what did that transition teach you about like leadership as well?
I think working for like a startup really showed me like
Mm.
that, gave me like that entrepreneurial spirit because I had worked for some like giant corporations and being able to see from an inside perspective of like how these like top companies work and operate and then go into a startup and seeing how like a startup works, it's like there's nothing that's happening here that like I can't do and I haven't done, and you know what I mean. And so I
Yeah.
think seeing a startup and being in that world and how like quickly they shift and change and things evolve and move and adapt, I think it just showed that like this is something that I could do myself full time.
Yeah.
Ultimately, that was like the goal. And so, yeah, I think it's been a huge learning experience with like making sure your documents are,
Yeah. Like
and
all the behind the scenes of running the business, right?
And getting like an accountant and all of the things.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's been great, obviously, for you, a good journey, because like, I've spoken to so many agency owners, and they've all come from corporate, pretty much big firms, and they realize that in big companies like that, you have so many clients that you're put to deal with as well, and unfortunately, you have that kinda time restriction that you're like, "You can only spend an hour on this client," and, don't, like, over deliver per se, just do what you gotta do, and, that's why they've went off, started their own agencies, make their own rules, over deliver for clients, because that's what it's, all about. That's how clients stay with you. That's where the retention is.
Yeah, and I think one of the things, because I started my career in advertising, I was at like a local TV station that was under one of the big companies that owns like almost every local TV station.
Wow.
And so they acted as like a digital marketing agency also, and that situation where like agencies would come to us for fulfillment essentially. And I just saw so many things like in the industry in general of like I would go to a client and they would be educated on something like how PPC works or SEO works, and they would be, miseducated. And I'd also see like they'd show me like their recaps and things like from other, vendors that they had, and I was like, this data doesn't make sense, you know what I mean? So a lot of things that were like, these people are being like miseducated. I've seen a lot of situations where like you build a website for someone and then like you keep the keys. They don't know how to run
Mm,
their own.
mm.
And so I just really wanted to start an agency where it's like we're creating things that like I would, working with people that I know won't be ripping people off because that's also a thing. And then also giving them like, this is your business and I want to treat you the way I would want to be treated. So it's thing is upfront, transparent, we're honest. Like if we have a bad month, we have a bad month. Like that's
Yeah, of
life.
course. Yeah,
But,
exactly.
it's kind of, like, fully honest and transparent, and what we're telling you is, like, the truth, you know? So, I just saw that happen so many times that I was like, "I wanna create my own thing where it's just, like" that's why it's holistic, because it's just, like, honest, ethical advertising, and I feel like the ethic thing that's left out a lot of times with advertising.
So you often just touch point on ethics and transparency in marketing. So would you be able to share, like, when sticking to that principle actually came at a cost? Because I'm sure you also get like that kind of other side of the spectrum where clients, don't appreciate that, or they just walk away. Like you said, everyone can have a bad month, and like, well, how do you personally like deal with that?
Yeah, so there have been situations where so, like, one of the main things that I had issues with was there's the agent side, we'll say, where it's like they're miseducating or there can be, like, data that they can manipulate to shape a certain narrative, and then there's the other side, like, the client side. We like, for example, had, like, a plumber who was known to like, if you call them in for a job that should be, like, $80, like, it's gonna cost you 300 because things change, you know what I mean? But because they're overcharging everyone, they have a ton of money, and so money talks. So, I was like, I wanna be able to be in a situation where we're like, "That's not ethical," and, like, I don't should be like, it's our job to be sending people business, so, like, I think that we should also have a responsibility to say that, like, the people that we're sending business to are gonna take care of them appropriately, you know?
Mhm.
And have been situations with this where, like, we just have, like, not been working with people after, a few months.
I see.
Yeah, so it has, like, cut out some of the billings.
Yeah,
Like, we need to do what's best for us and, like, for people,
yeah,
and I think that's just something that in the long run, like, karma or whatever. But, like, there's plenty of people who are willing to take money and stuff. It's just, like,
yeah.
I think we'll
I think the most important part, what you touch point on just now, is staying true to yourself. And as a business owner, if these are the values you'll stick through, just push through. You'll have bad days, you'll have good days, as we just touch point on. That just comes all part of it.
Mhm.
So, in regarding to holistic, what type of clients do you currently serve? Like, do you have a special niche or a sub niche that you're focusing on, or are you more general?
So we're pretty general, but, like, small to medium-sized business are kind of, like,
Okay.
our main thing.
Your bread and butter.
We just, like, love that kind of early startup phase. Like, we've had someone come to us where, like, "I have an idea for these companies," and so we like, a name for, like, multiple different companies, found domains, we registered as
Wow.
LLC, and then we created, like, logo, branding, guidelines, so I think it's really fun to be able to take, like someone come to us and be like, "I have an idea," and then we kinda take it from there, because we inception, incorporate you as a business, and then build you a website and scale. I think just like that in early branding and
Yeah, I see. That's where all the fun is, that right? So, what type of services do you offer for these small to medium sized businesses?
so we offer full digital marketing
Mhm.
suite, essentially pay per click, search engine optimization, social media management and advertising. And then we do website design development, graphic design, branding, and then we do consulting as well if anyone just kind of needs help.
Okay, awesome. So, quite a lot of things under one umbrella, I have to say.
Mhm.
So who's currently having all that knowledge? Is it just you, or do you have somebody else? Is there a co-founder, or you're just running the show here?
So it's like me, and then I run the business with my husband.
I see. That's great. I love that. I've had so many people like where they kind of like a family-owned business where they have their husband, their wife, and then their daughter is also working for the agency. So I think it's brilliant.
Yeah, he is so cute. His name's Frankie, and he
Yeah.
has a background in running some businesses as well. So it
Ah,
kind of I had the business before we got together, and then
okay.
he was supportive, and yeah, so he's into the entrepreneur life as well.
Okay, I see. So do you guys find that now that you're pretty much location free, do you get to travel more with having the agency?
I feel like we work more than we did.
That is such an honest response, honestly.
Yeah, so I think, like, it would be great too, but we're, like, always,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Always on the flow, on the lock-in phase. I mean, I'll
Mhm.
be honest with you. If you do want to lock in, fall into your business, come to UK because you can't do nothing outside. So you'll be stuck in. You'll be stuck in,
Yeah,
and
Arizona, it's, like, 110 for summer, so there's, like, not a lot you can really.
yeah, yeah, yeah. No, absolutely. No, that's great. I love that. Well, this is kind of getting a little bit personal, but I think it's a very important aspect as well to the business, especially to people who are running like like with their husband, with their wife, with their family, the business. How do you kind of have that balance? Getting into the psychology a little bit here, how do you have that balance between business and this is our personal life? Like do you separate the two or do they intertwine?
Yeah, I would say that's definitely tricky because 'cause we're both always like, the wheels are always spinning, and we're always, like, on our phones, like, "Oh, maybe we can" you know what I mean? And so, like, it is tricky, but I think that we both are very similar personality and that can kind of switch between, like, we're having a conversation about, like, what's for dinner, and then be like, "Oh, that meeting was really good," and we can
Yeah. Okay.
um yeah, but it will be kind of like at night or we'll have, like, a certain day that we
Yeah.
are just like, "This is our Sunday or Saturday," or whatever whatever day people take off,
Yeah.
and we'll just, have our time to just chill and, relax, and
Switch off.
yeah, so I think it's important to take, like, kind of like a day
Yeah.
or have, like, nighttime, like, our phones are face down so we don't see anything and we can just
Yeah,
chill.
especially because you're both, like, pretty much, like, in the business, and I'm sure you want it to grow, so that's why you're focusing so much time and effort into it, but at the same time, I feel like if you take time away, you come back stronger.
Mhm. Yeah, and I think it's important to, like, make sure that you're resting and
Mhm.
recovering, because I was, like, an endurance athlete for a long time, like, triathlon stuff,
Oh,
and so it's a similar thing where it's, like, you need to make sure that, like, even though you wanna keep going or, like, maybe you wanna train tomorrow, that, like, you need to take time because, like, it's for the long term, and I
yeah.
think it's important to try to keep that
You
perspective.
know what? Like, and same mindset here, like, especially with the, like, sports, gym, endurance. I've just been to the gym. I'm all aching over, and I'm like, "How can I recover by tomorrow? Because I wanna go back out there again." So similar thing with business, I guess you take that concept as well.
Right, yeah, like, this is for the long haul, and so it's
Mhm.
important sure that, like, we have our reserves because we need to be doing this in a month, in a year, in 5 years, and I think that's what a lot of entrepreneurs struggle with is just, like, the burnout, and they just, like, the pressure, and so I think it's important to remember that, like, we're currently working way more than we've ever worked in a corporate job,
Mhm.
and so it's like,
Mhm.
every day we're like, "That was a crazy day." Like,
Yeah,
so much happens every
yeah.
day,
But,
and so yeah.
like, I'll be honest with you, Mike, like, it is scary as a business owner because that's what you've got, like, the agency. If you don't, like, focus all your efforts into the growth or into filling up your pipeline, you'll have, like, slower seasons as well. And then if you don't put in much effort, what are you going to do when that, that slow season suddenly your two clients leave, Am I going to go back to the corporate? No, like who wants to go back to that after I experienced the pleasure of having your own business?
Right. Yeah, it's definitely a feast or famine, so
Yeah, no, absolutely. I actually spoke to somebody really smart and they said that it's hard, but they try and wake up every day with an unemployed mindset,
Mm,
even though they're running their own agency. And I thought I took that away from that podcast because I thought it was great advice.
yeah, that is really great. I love that.
Yeah. So in regarding to design and data, like you clearly value both beautiful designs and measurable outcomes. So how do you strike the balance between creative expression and conversion driven decision making when working with clients?
Well, I do A/B tests, like, everything, and I've had to learn over time because I feel like I've always been very, like, right, left brain, like, I've always been creative, but I've also been like that nerd coding and building
Yeah.
websites since I was a child, and so I think something that I've had to do is kind of, like, remove that, like, how an artist feels where it's like, "This is my work, and this is my baby," and, like, connection to something, and be like, I create something that I think is good and that they think is good, and then we look at the data and let, people decide what
Yeah.
converts. Try to, like, remove myself from it because it's like, it's nothing and I think that's hard as, like, an artist sometimes to be like, "It's nothing against me for like this."
Oh yeah, of
But,
course.
we're looking at data, and there's a lot of psychological factors that play into things like that. Yeah, I
So
think
I would love to dive into a little bit of the data. So obviously running, I mean, you mentioned PPC, like paid advertising. So what are the type of data that really matters? Like, is it the impression? Is it the likes, the comment? What's kind of the, I know there's like numbers you get right now and you're like, oh yeah, that's good. But then more for like long term of the business?
Yeah, so one of the main things you look at is I have landing pages that like all
Hmm.
of the ads go to, and you can A/B test those. So we can say like this landing page is converting more than this. And so like the user journey, let's just say, would be like you're searching for something specific and you get that ad that pops up and it goes to the landing page. And from there the hope is they would make a call or submit a form right away just so we can get that email address and that name. And then the main things that we're looking for are like clicks for, what keywords are people clicking on and like what ads are people clicking on. And then on the website side, it's like what landing page are people converting with. And from there, you just continue to like tweak and optimize and change that landing page to try to help increase those overall conversions.
Okay, no, I see. In regards to holistic, what does it mean to you personally? I mean, even where is the name coming from? Do you have a deeper meaning behind that?
I think that all kind of goes back to like the ethics, the like honest transparency thing. And for a lot of my life, not currently, but for a lot of my life, I was like an ethical vegan. And so like it all was very like encompassing. I'm also like a yoga instructor, and so I'm very into like
Uh,
that world.
Nice.
And so there's like holistic, like without the W. That's like the typical word, but for holistic agency, it felt like it was like the whole, business encompassing them from like helping you grow, scale, but also providing you like the things that I felt like a lot of agencies weren't. So it's like fully taking care of people.
Okay, that's lovely. Actually, you talking about your yoga studio. I noticed there's a couple of ventures you're currently kind of pursuing, not just the yoga studio and running your own agency. Is there something else on the horizon for you?
Yeah, I also have a skincare company.
Oh, look at you go.
Yeah, so I've just always been really into like things, you know what I mean? Just like always building and doing things.
Yeah.
And it's been fun to be able to, like, channel it into different projects and stuff, and I feel like we're creating, like, a little ecosystem. My husband's a part of, like, all of the businesses, and
Huh.
he had a few businesses before he met me, and so, and he has a baking business.
Oh. Oh, bacon.
So he does little bite-sized treats,
Yeah.
so, like, a little mini cheesecake or something, like, mini cookies, like,
And is it like an
delicious.
e-commerce platform? Is it more kind of local based, like a local
It's
bakery?
local currently, yeah, working on the e-commerce side.
Okay, awesome. And like, so obviously you're very passionate about pursuing these projects. Um, So how do you manage it? Like agency, a yoga studio, and then you have the skincare brand as well. Like how do you do it all?
So I am really big on scheduling and checklists and calendars. And
Okay.
so,
And organization.
yes, and I also love AI.
Mm.
So I think
Mm.
they're really good. Yeah, I think they're really good for helping with like data. And so I worked with AI to like kind of like put together like an optimized calendar for me. And so I have like hours throughout the day of every day blocked out on like what I should be working on when. And I have kind of like a certain percentage of my time that like the agency should be taking up because that is like the bulk of
Mhm.
thing. So, given, 70% agency, blah, blah, blah. So yeah, I have all of my time blocked out and then we can still schedule on top of it. But that's just
Yeah.
kind of like it's time we should be eating lunch and working on.
Wow, really? You even got that blocked out. I love it.
Hmm.
'Cause there's only
Yeah.
so many hours in a day, right?
Right. Yes. And I love a nap. So you gotta get
Really,
that.
there's a nap in there as well.
You have to. Gotta get your rest.
You know what? I love a good power nap, I have to say. I
Hmm.
do. I think you come back, like, more refreshed and your head's in the game.
Yeah, and I've heard like, I've read a lot that there were, like, a lot of great, like, leaders and stuff who have always taken, like, an afternoon
Mm.
power nap. So I was like, I mean, if, like, Thomas Jefferson and people like that can take a nap, then I can take a nap,
Yeah,
so
exactly. Yeah, I mean, you already, like, come so far. I mean, let's be honest, you came from a freelancer background. Now you have your own agency that's going well, and now you're running all these other ventures. I mean, you're clearly doing amazing job out there.
yeah, I think
So
it's important to
yeah,
schedule things out, and
yeah,
then, I send
absolutely.
my husband calendar invites, so we have meetings.
Yeah. Oh, really? Well, like date night or
Not that, that's more spontaneous.
so in regards to scaling, Mike, what is the plan for you in regarding to holistic and scaling? Let's say in the next kind of year. I mean, 2025, we only got 2 months left. Let's kind of focus on that 2026. What is your goal, your aims? You seem like you like your organization, so I'm sure you've got something planned out.
Yeah, so the goal would be to hire, like, 2 more people
Uh-huh.
to help with, like, account management and then also help with sales. From there, it could be, like, more of, like, an owner role versus, like, wearing many role. And so I think that would be, like, a really good next step in our growth. We've grown a lot through, like, word of mouth, and we have a lot of networking events, like, here. The community here is really tight-knit, so it's kind of, like, good to get out and meet your neighbors here and kind of, like, have them see your face and familiarity, and so it's been a lot of, like, networking, word of mouth, and so we're looking to also move into, like, paid ads and things like that for ourselves, like, end of
Yeah,
this
so
year.
yeah, I mean, referrals are absolutely great, especially if you're starting out. But the one problem I keep hearing time and time again is referrals you can't scale. You only get what you get. So I'm guessing that's why you're looking into that kind of paid advertising to further fill your pipeline, pretty much.
Right. And it's like you can only go to so many events, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Before like,
exactly, because
nice.
it takes time as well. Yeah, and
Yeah,
preparation.
right.
So you said you're looking at kind of scaling your sales team as well. Who currently manage the sale? Is it yourself? Is that something you wanna kind of remove because 'cause you're not that passionate about it?
Yeah, so I do sales, like, kind of traditional cold calling. I came from, like, in a TV station, it was sales heavy
Yeah.
role. And so, I mean, it was great because I got to learn sales and I, like, never would have had that experience,
Mhm.
and that's essential for any
I
business.
was
And
just gonna
so
say that. That's the
yeah.
background of everything, the foundation.
Yeah, and they were really a great company to, like we went through so much, like, sales training and, beyond just, like, in person like, our in-office stuff. There was, like, more people who came in, and they put us out, and so we had really good sales training, so I kind of following those traditional, sales things, and then I've been, like, working with my husband on that as well, but we're cold calling and stuff and prospecting and doing all
Yeah.
the fun.
I have a genuine question, and that kind of keeps popping up a lot. Do you think, in your personal experience, that cold email is dead?
So I have never been one to believe in cold emails. Like even when I was at the station, there was always like a rep who would be really into cold emails.
Mhm.
Those were always the lowest.
Mhm.
And well, I just don't believe that people I mean, it may work. And I think a newer version that would be more fruitful perhaps would be like those LinkedIn AI bots because I feel like I've clicked on some of those, but I've never clicked on an email and scheduled a call.
Mhm.
So, yeah, I feel like cold calling would be better time served than cold emailing.
What are these LinkedIn AI bots that you talked about there?
You have to be getting these because, like, all of these ideas from people where they're like, "Hey, I have this idea for you, and I think it could be great. Here's my Calendly link." And, I get a lot of those.
Uh,
So those are
like a direct pitch, but yeah, they're AI generated is what you mean.
yeah, they're not like, Tom is not coming to my profile and messaging me. It's just like AI bots who are scraping based on criteria and sending out a bunch of messages per day from an account.
But I mean, like we all get direct pitched. Do you still think that's effective nowadays in 2025?
I mean, I think it can be. Like, I think it's kind
No?
of like cast your net wide. Someone's looking for your stuff. Like, I have clicked on things and have been, interested in doing
Yeah.
things. I think it depends on what you're doing for sure, but there's always someone who's looking for products and services, And so I think if you cast your net wide enough and you're like doing like a LinkedIn AI bot, I'm sure you will be getting leads.
Would you think that maybe a value message would serve better than a direct reach?
What do you mean exactly?
So you're providing value to your client. So it could be in a form of, "Well, I created this PDF file that can help you solve XYZ." And it's kind of like leading them, like it's a sales funnel per se, but it's slowly leading them towards you. But you're starting off with some value.
Yeah, no, I think that would be great. Kind of like we, analyze your website and we notice these
Yes.
things.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely. I mean, like with our clients in White Media Group, that's the approach we take all the time, providing value rather than this is who I am and this is what I do. It's all about me, my business, rather than your business. What's going on? Let's sit down. Let's talk about it. Like, how are you doing right now? You know?
Mhm.
And I feel like that's kind of taken away that kind of connection with like business owners and like your agencies. So that's why I think it's so important the human connection. Like what we're doing here right now is like you can't replace that with AI.
Right. 100%.
Maybe one day, but right now it doesn't have that human emotion. Yeah. I mean, like you mentioned about AI and obviously being curious and utilizing some of the tools. What particular tools are you like more kind of leaning towards right now?
So I use a tool called Sintra,
I
and
know Sintra. Yeah, yeah.
it's like a paid tool, and they have like 12 AI agents. And essentially, it's like different little AI bots that are trained on different things. So there's one for like SEO, social media management, business development, like a personal assistant. And it remembers everything that you say. And so, like, everything that we've talked about with like all of the businesses and all of these things, and like even specific clients, like it knows everything. And so I think it's been really great.
Yeah, yeah, it definitely helps you with that kind of organization because you got kinda they portray it as 12 employees that don't stop working basically, and there's, like, this massive brain that all the employees kind of feed from that I think every day you need to upload with, like, new questions that you've gotta answer to make sure they're up to date on everything. Yeah, it's definitely very, very fancy.
Uh-huh. It is really cool. So,
Yeah. How long have you
I
been using it for?
probably like 6 months, a year
Mhm,
maybe.
mhm.
I do like it. So it has like what's called a brain, and they'll come up with random questions about like
Yeah.
the business, like your strategy, future growth, like those types of things. And then it can like assign work to the little bots, like they'll propose work for you. So it'll be like we can create, a welcome email sequence for new subscribers or
Yeah.
those types of things. But I think a lot of things are advertised like, "I hired my AI bots and I quit working for 6 months and I came back a millionaire," and, like, that's not the case, so
Yeah, that's a bit of the hype, isn't it? It's not really realistic.
Right, I would recommend not quitting, but
Yeah, yeah, right.
yeah, it's very helpful, I think, and it's really great to kind of just, like, brainstorm, I think, also.
Mhm. No, absolutely. No, for sure. I mean, it's something that's what we're very passionate about, AI and automation in businesses and helping businesses implement those because we definitely think AI is the new trend and you got to jump on the wagon or you get left behind.
Hmm. Yeah, I haven't seen any that are good for making creative yet. Like you
Yeah,
said,
I think yeah,
yeah.
need humans for a bit more on that.
So I say like it's good for like helping with copywriting because that can be a lot if you're doing like a quarter's worth of social media posts. Like great for helping to generate some ideas, but like you should still make images or have someone do it.
Yeah, no, absolutely, for sure. I mean, images is getting a little bit better on, but like video is the kind of big thing I'm waiting for it to get really good at.
Yeah, it's like I've seen the videos on Instagram, but it's like when you try to recreate something like that, it's nothing like what
Yeah, yeah, right? So
the
yeah, we'll
videos.
we'll see because there's new tools coming out every single day, right? So we'll just stay on top of it.
Yeah, maybe get a few months.
Yeah, exactly. So my last question to you, Mike, is if you had a magic wand, and I ask this to all of my guests, if you had a magic wand to fix one thing in your business that's slowing you down or holding you back from achieving the growth you really want for your agency, what would it be?
Think it would be access to capital. Like it'd be really nice to have, like an investment. And we have other ways of like crowdfunding or things like that just to kind of help with moving things forward. But any business, if you're like, we had, a large investment at the upfront, like that would be really helpful.
And what would you do with this large investment, large access to capital then? Where would you
We would
be
have
investing it?
a really nice paid campaign across the board.
Mm, I see. Where you can test a lot of variations for.
Hmm.
What type of
Yeah.
angles are you thinking to go with? This is just me getting a little bit curious.
Angles as far as like
So, like
to
for paid advertising, yeah. Have you decided yet, or that's still something you're pending on?
So our first thing we're like looking to promote and push is going to be our SEO.
Mhm,
I've just seen that work really well and there's data behind it. And so
mhm.
it's, helpful to show. So first thing we want to go is SEO. And then from there, maybe more like website, social media, PPC kind of expand.
Awesome, great. Thank you so much for joining this podcast, Mike. If people wanted to learn more about your services or connect with you, where could I find you?
You can go to holisticagency.com and that stick with a you or holistic agency on Instagram as well.
Yeah, awesome, great. We'll link the all of the socials below this so people can easily locate you. Thank you so much,
Awesome.
Mike.
Thank you.